Cheers to you guys as we discuss trends, tips, starting points for an awesome 2025. We have a lot to go over. What are you going to learn? We're going to talk about trends versus fads, how to know the difference. We're going to talk about the life cycle of certain trends right now, why knowing that is critical to design and staging success. We're going to go over our color trends. We're going to vote on our favorites and notice all these differences. I'm going to list out a bunch of new and emerging design trends that I think you're going to love. We're going to look at kitchen and bathroom trends and design styles and business trends. We're going to just take our crystal ball and talk about the future. If I give you lots of wonderful information, is it okay if I take a little bit of time to tell you a little bit about my courses? If that is okay, go ahead in the chat room and put yes or it's a deal. Thanks, you guys. Boston Rob. I've got one of your photos in here. I love that. Okay. Who is this for? You are in the right place if you're a new stager or designer, if you're just thinking about the industry, if you're an agent who just is looking into staging and design, or if you're a veteran stager or designer, or even if you just really love design and to stay on top of trends, this is absolutely the right and safe place for you. And especially if you are also a color lover, because who doesn't love to see all those colors of the year? Basically, if you love to see photos that go from this to this, you are in the right place. We all have this kind of thing that we do that's called design passion, and we love it. So I know that you are all with me on that one. Who am I? If you don't know me, I'm Audra Slinky. I'm president of the Home Staging Resource. I started that business. Now we're going on 20 years ago. It's the first kind of online mixed media. It was a 3-week training for people who wanted to get into staging and redesign. And I've won a lot of awards. I've shared the stage with some really cool people like Barbara Corcoran and Sabrina Soto and Vern Yip. But the thing that I absolutely love and what I'm most proud of, gets me up in the morning, is proud to have most trained the really most amazing and award-winning stagers in the industry. I've trained thousands and thousands of stagers through my training. If you've ever seen this logo on a stager site, that's just my person. And then I started a 3-day color training, an e-design training, and an Airbnb design training for those people who've gone through my core training kind of to take afterwards. So done a lot of good things, and I'm really proud of what we've done. So enough about me. Let's talk about you. First off, I just want you to know I am not putting my finger in the air and going, what do I feel like is going to trend for next year? I have a team of people that help me. And we base this based on research. And we do these every year. And so we know kind of where to go. We look at Pinterest search trends. We look at Google search trends. We look at Houzz reports and research and search trends. We go to realtor.com and look at hundreds of new build homes to see, builders kind of know what is trending. We look at Yelp search trends. We go to all the kind of main sources online, Instagram, we follow all sorts of leading designers. I personally go to the Las Vegas market, so I'm looking at furnishing trends and what's hot and what's working. High Point Trends, kitchen and bath design markets. Basically, and I also talk to the 3,000 plus people, designers and stagers, that are in my field, asking them what is also trending, especially through my private Facebook group, Stagers Connect. So basically, we take all that information based on kind of last year's trends and what's keep going, and we come up with this wonderful training. Trends versus fads. All right. It's kind of important that we know the difference, because some things we think will be trending and they just kind of fizzle out. A trend is timeless. It's usually more timeless, usually lasts about 3 to 10 years, and they're usually subtle in nature so that they can last that long, and they're easy to live with, and they usually involve altered classics. They have a tendency to rebound off one another. We've always seen it through the years. And a fad is a little bit different. It's usually about 2 years, and it's so hot that it kind of quickly fades. It becomes overused. And so some things that we think are just so wonderful, like a millennial pink, it just doesn't last very long because it's just so hot, it just boom, gone. Toys are good examples of fads. The chevron pattern, when it came out, and I'm dating myself, but this was in 2000s. I've been doing these for, I told you 20 years. So then when the fad, I always say when the fad goes to Target's all over, but that's actually just a joke because Target actually has been doing pretty good in their design stuff. Here's a new slide that I had to add to my trends because I have a personal pet peeve when I know you're getting bombarded with the hot trends for bedroom design or living room design. Everybody's looking forward to 2025. This is the time of year when, colors of the year come out, all that good stuff. But here's my pet peeve. A lot of the stuff sometimes that they list as a trend, to me, is not a trend at all. It is a design principle and it always trends. So, for instance, when people say heavy texture and contrast, texture and contrast is a design principle we designers use on the daily, and that's never going to go away. That is a solid trend. Um, when people talk about sustainability now, upcycling, that I'd like to think that that is never going to trend out. It really probably shouldn't, right? We all care about that sort of stuff. Same thing with high tech. High tech is not going to trend out. And when I give you this pet peeve, you're going to notice it now in every trend article because there's usually one of these things in it. And I would always go so far to say is even biophilic design, if you don't know what that is, that's a design that's really embracing the greenery, the outdoor zen, and it's really been proven. There's research that is so helpful for our health and whatnot. I'd like to say that that will probably never trend out. All of us love to bring kind of the outdoors in. It's just good design principles. Again, maximizing space. That obviously heavily has been talked about and trended after COVID because we were all kind of stuck inside. But honestly, don't we all want to always maximize our space? So again, this is not something that I'm going to spout as a big trend right now because we should always be maximizing what we own in our space. And I always say the same thing with statement lighting. I love lighting. I spend so much time when I'm in the Las Vegas market just going to all the lighting vendors. Tell me if that's yourself, if you just love looking at different light fixtures. I'd like to say that that is always going to be kind of trending. I mean, that is kind of the jewelry of the room. So, of course. So, this is my pet peeve. And if you wonder why I'm not going to really mention these as trends, they're not, they're going to always trend. So, it's always something for us to keep in mind as designers and stagers. Here's another thing about trends, and we're going to talk a lot about it this week when I start showing you renovation like photos and new build photos. We're going to talk about the life cycle. And this is really important whether you're an enthusiast or a designer, because we need to know where that trend is in the life cycle, because we may not want to embrace it if it's at the end of the life cycle. If it's at the end of the life cycle, that means they're probably going to be tearing it out in 5 years. They're not going to like it, right? So it begins, stage one, the trend is introduced, and it's usually introduced from the design world, and it's getting a little bit of acceptance. It's kind of like, ooh, what's this? What's this new color? What's this new, design style? And then it has a rise. You start seeing it a little bit more regularly as it becomes accepted. And stage three, even though when you read about how trends work peak, I'd like to call stage three kind of the area where you see variations of it. And I do a lot of these, I do this every year where I talk about twists on existing trends, and we'll see it variated somewhere else. And I'll show you some examples. But it is beginning in stage three to be a little overused. And then we have four, the decline. And that is when the masses, the people who aren't as interested and passionate as design as we are, they start just embracing it, and you'll just start seeing it everywhere, right? And then when we see it everywhere, do we want to use it at all? No. So that's when it goes to obsolescence. And I always say that that obsolescence period usually overlaps with this new trend, and we rebound like a bad boyfriend. We just have a tendency to do that. So it's kind of good that we're aware of this and we're going to start looking at it. Because you guys remember these two trends? The old Tuscan and the old gray trend, right? And like I said, the Tuscan trend was hot when I started my training 20 years ago. So I've been seeing all of these trends. Oh yeah, and we all embraced them. So also being aware of overly embracing certain trends that doesn't fit the style of the home. And these are all things that we need to be letting our client, making them aware of. So I also have to preface too by saying many of the trends that I listed last year, they're still trending. So I'm not going to mention them. So if this is the first time you've watched me do a trends workshop and you're like, I can't believe she didn't mention arches or something else, I mentioned that last year. So I try and always come up with what I think is new and kind of hot and a little bit exciting, and just because I only get an hour with you guys. So as my stagers, how many of you on the chat are stagers? Go ahead and put me. You know, we not only have to think about life cycle, I mean, that's the designer to the renovation, but we have to think about storability. So when I talk about, furniture, like some furniture that was trending is too heavy for us. We're not going to buy it, or it just won't store very well. So as much as we want to embrace that, all right, I love that. Look at all my stagers. We have to always take that into consideration, and the life cycle in those renovation decisions. Because interestingly, the number one reason, according to House, very recently, why people are totally renovating their kitchen and bath is, you guessed it, they are sick of the style of their kitchen. Maybe they embraced that Tuscan trend too much, or that gray trend too much, or who knows what. They're just sick of it. More than functionality, more than things breaking down on them, they just want something new. Hey, that's what keeps us designers in business. I'm okay with that. But it's so fun to kind of see that sometimes over embracing some trends, a life cycle, is too much. So I'm asking you guys, as the expert, where in the life cycle? So you're going to give me a number from 1 to 5. I'm going to list a few kind of trends, new and old, and you're going to tell me where you think on the life cycle. So the trend, color drenching. If you don't know what color drenching is, I kind of talk about it later, but it's where the whole room, like in this photo, is one color. Do you think that's pretty new trend, going away? I kind of love it. Two. I've got some twos. I got some stage threes. Yeah, two. Two, yeah. Oh, I got a 4 in there. I'm surprised, but yeah. The black and white kitchen. I know there's a timelessness to it. I agree, but it's getting to the overused phase a bit. I think we're towards the end of that one, right? Still looks good. And here's the thing. I don't mean to insult people. If you're like, what are you talking about? I just put in a black and white kitchen. If that's what you love, you're all good. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's something you've always loved, you're not going to get sick of it. That's the truth. But as designers, when we're specifying, we don't, if a client says, I want something new and hot that I don't want to have to rip out in 10, 15 years because I'm not going to be sick, I'm going to want the next hot thing, you know, then we have to be careful with that. The little cozy curved furniture and boucle, it's been around forever, right? But it's still trending. I still saw it in Las Vegas. Yeah. So here's the thing. Trends expose error. I just showed you the Tuscan and the gray, especially when they're over embraced. It is always good, we tell our clients, to go timeless on the big things, the expensive things, the cabinets, the countertops. Have a little fun with your backsplash. That doesn't cost that much to change out. Um, and also, the thing is, the main takeaway, if you take away anything from this, is it is timeless if it's a color that you've always loved. So there are colors that I have always loved, and there are colors that I've only loved mostly because it was trending. And so you got to and everybody's subjective about that, right? So stick to the timeless color choice with your clients. So last year's color trends, and this is interesting because we're going to talk about color trends compared to this year. It was all about the blues. We were starting to warm up off the gray. Again, we're doing that rebound. So we're doing the soft, earthy shades of brown. We saw softer shades of green, brown, caramel, cognac. Moody tones were starting. There's that little Barbie core pink fad out. But here were the colors of last year, so you can have a little comparison that all the paint colors companies picked. And I have to thank Young House Love, a wonderful site, for their graphics that I'm borrowing. So I'm going to tell you, you'll see names of where I grabbed some good stuff here. In fact, you might want to have your phone on you because I'm going to also be showcasing a lot of Instagram accounts that I love, that I pull stuff from. So this year's 2025 color trends, we're embracing it a little bit more. Cozier, deeper, moodier color tones. We're rebounding, obviously, still off that gray and the white and black trend. We're ready to really warm things up. Complementing saturated colors, we're seeing chocolate browns, subtle blues. And if this kind of reminds you of a little bit of the Tuscan trend, it is, but it's not a Tuscan trend. Rich plums, ruby reds, calming colors. Here was the paint color choices of this year. Look at the difference between last year and this year, right? We're just going in a little deeper. Uh, So while the hues of 2024 centered around soothing earth tones, they were a little more subtle, more moody. 2025 to me is kind of a little bit more playful. We're embracing that bolder color, a little volume, richer shades, flamboyant tones, earthy, plums, chocolates, warm metallics. Um, these hues add a little bit of depth, warmth, and sophistication. We're rebounding off the sleek, darker gray still that we just have a tendency to do that with the black and white trend. And we're looking for more serene, rich, dark, earthy colors with the complementing blues, greens, and the warmer creamer tones. All right, are you guys ready to vote? Who picked best? Benjamin Moore. I'm going to go through all of them and then I'm going to put them up and then I'm going to put a survey up where you get like 30 seconds to do a quick vote. And I always like to see what you experts, because you guys are the tip of the spear. Benjamin Moore picked a cinnamon slate. Sherwin-Williams, this is the 15th year to celebrate their 15-year anniversary for picking the color of the year. They decided to pick a bunch of different colors, but for the sake of this, I'm going to pick their top color, which was grounded, as a color choice because I think that was like the first that they listed. I'm assuming that's kind of, I'm not going to say their color of the year, but probably the most of their color of the year. And they also always partnered it with the HGTV. Sherwin-Williams Quietude is their other. Interesting. Chocolate blue. We saw a lot of that in the 2000s. Okay. C2 color of the year. Ooh, look at that. Glidden, purple, basil, Valspar Encore, Dutch Boy Mapped Blue, Dan Edwards Caramelized, Stainmaster did Truffle. I'm not going to list these for you to vote on because now it feels like almost every stain, paint, everything has a color of the year now, right? It's almost a little overwhelming. They love to do it and we love to mention it, but this, I'm mentioning it to you because these are all the colors of the year so far. Pantone doesn't pick yet for a while. So here is the colors of the year so far. And I am now going to give you, let me put up my survey. Survey says, who picked best? See if you can see this. All right, go ahead. I'm taking the poll. Hopefully you see it. Hopefully you can see. You're all putting in your votes. I love it. And I love you guys even typed it out. Quietude, grounded, Benjamin Moore. Oh, look at you guys with the Benjamin Moore. I kind of did. It's a very complex color. I can see that going around. So, wow, by and large, you guys really chose Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore so far. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end poll. Oops, that's not letting me end it. Well, I'm going to go back. Okay. Do you guys see my screen now? I want to make sure you're seeing that. Yes or no in the chat. Yeah, the presentation. Good. All right, great. Okay, make sure I did that right. I didn't know I could do a poll and a screen at the same time. Wonderful. All right, technology. So here's what's more trending, right? And been trending. Those honeyed neutrals. We're calling this the timber trend, right? The timber trend has been trending. We kind of started introducing those kind of wood, light wood tones into our kitchens, went to vary in contrast with the white kitchen trend. As we shift further away from those cooler tones, we're going towards those toasty neutrals for balance. This is a beautiful new build that I saw. And I don't know if you could see it, but this little shelf on the kitchen, I'm seeing that a lot now. And we're going to talk about that. But striking plums. So in the coming year, color experts anticipate a surge. Do you guys think in the chat that you're going to see a lot of plums, striking plums, aubergines, jams? Yes or no? Curious. Veronica's big no. I love it. Well, interestingly, when my girl Studio McGee is picking it recently on her Instagram feed, it's beautiful in the small space. Chocolate browns. We're embracing brown as a continuation of the trend. We've been shifting away from the cooler grays to a warm palette. It's comforting, it's soothing. And here is some beautiful, and like I said, you may want to take quick screenshots or cameras so that you can follow these wonderful people on Instagram who are just tastemakers, in my opinion. I love it. All right. Artists ochre. So, like I said, I've pulled these from a lot of sources. Expect to see more mustard, earthy, rich yellows popping up in interiors and fashion. Again, more comfort and relief, and otherworldly blues. Mid-tone blues have their moment. It's time for deeper, enchanting shades to shine. I know we all love blue, right? Blue, navy's like my neutral. But here, and you're going to see a lot of Duval kitchens because I'm in love with them, is the yellow and the otherworldly blue kind of mixed together. Not pretty. I always like to show you, right? I'm such a show and tell. And the ruby reds. How many of you, new chat, are gonna embrace red more? We really, red was kind of off the table after that Tuscan trend. Can we all agree on that? Just off. So nostalgic reds, obviously historic homes were always, but color fast forecasters think they're gravitating towards those for nostalgia, familiarity, and his people have been gravitating towards historical. I mean, antiques. There was a time, obviously, during the gray and the kind of white, we didn't really mix a lot of that. But this was a new build, and in this room by Kelsey Lay Design. Love her stuff. Yeah, not as a main color, as an accent. Yeah, it's definitely interesting in small space room. And in case you wondered, Audra, where did you get all that from? And obviously, the color companies kind of know what they're doing as well. But Pinterest Predicts had some. These are their statistics on upticks in searches. And that's when we really have to look at that from, we went from serene to seafoam, sage and blue and cream, green home decor. I mean, green, I've said, is like the color of probably this decade. I've been saying that for a few years, and no surprise, people are still embracing that. Moody purple bedroom up, lavender bedroom. So it'll be curious to see whether that plum sticks. And then this was released by Fixer, where they talked to a bunch of designers and asked them kind of what tones are going to be popular. What I found interesting was with the bottom, obviously gray, toning out, black and white, surprisingly toning out, and people embracing those earthy tones. So for those of you who, if you're on the chat, and if you are on the chat, put me, love, love, love color and love this sort of stuff. I have to tell you a little bit about a color course that I have. It's a 3-day online course. It's called Certified Color Expert, and it is designed for people to help people with their color choices. Because as you'll see in a lot of my what not to do, I've showing you a lot of what to do photos, but I'm going to show you some what not to do. It's really hard to get color right. And it's a 3-day online training. I walk you through my 6-step process to coming up with the perfect color scheme in a home, assessing those undertones, creating that perfect palette. And it's really not just about paint color, it's about those fixed finishes, because a lot of people are picking the wrong colors in their fixed finishes, and those are really expensive mistakes. Not all colors get along. I also walk you through how to price, your consultation process, and also how to market this new service. So even if you're a stager and designer and you're just not comfortable with color and you're like, this is what I need, this is a great course for you. If you're not a stager and designer and you're just like, I just want to dip my toe into design, I want to try something new for 2025, this is why I recommend this course. In the course, I also give you all the goodies. So it's kind of a business in a box, a service in a box. This is your paint selections for your home. It's a Canva template. I have a lot of Canva templates in all my courses where you go in, you edit it a little bit, put in your pretty face, and it's a leave away for your clients. And I also have my signature. This is kind of the Bible of the top 100 plus Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams colors by undertone, when to use them, how to use them, so you can narrow down the right undertone in a space for your clients and pick the right color. So if that is you, I hope you consider it. I'm going to talk about the emerging 2025 trends. Before I get into that, I'm going to tell you that I am doing, yep, you guessed it, a Black Friday super sale, early Black Friday coupon code on all of my courses. So I told you a little bit about the color course. I have the biggest discount I ever give on any of my courses, $50, but I'm doing it on the color, on my e-design, on my staging, and my Airbnb. And I know some of you have been following me for a while, have been wondering, when are you going to get that discount on the Airbnb and the e-design, which has been a long time. So I have a discount on all of them. I'm doing it so that you kind of end the year right. This is the last discount of the year. That's it. So for those of you who are kind of sitting on the fence, just so you know. And there's a button below that kind of, if you're like, who is this girl courses? You can take your time, look at the courses and see if dipping your toe in any one of these things is right for you. The discount is $50 off of each and every product. And it's the best discount I give. And it expires Friday at midnight. My staging and design course is a 3-week course. This is the course usually people start at when they want to get into staging and design. And they want to, build a strong foundation for their business. I know, do I have any of my HSR people on this line? I'm just curious. If I do, I'd love to hear from you. Um, and then it talks about marketing, and then it gets into more advanced stuff where I dip into color, realtor partnerships, alternative incomes. I talk about a lot of trade shopping, model home staging, vision boards, organization. I even talk about holiday design, which is really hot right now for so many people. And it's kind of that business in a box to get you started. My e-design is really giving you all these templates. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Rob, for e-design. So how many of you use design files on this line, chat file in the chat? That's the technology that people use, designers use to create mood boards for clients. Well, when somebody signs up for my e-design course, they actually get 100 plus of those templates inside their design files account. So they're never looking at a blank board. And we have them both retail and trade. So that's kind of the huge benefit of that course. If you're interested, if you want to find out more, all you need to do is go to homestagingresource.com, the menu, under the menu courses, and those are my 4 courses that I offer. Thanks, Roz. All right, let's get back to our trends. Okay, I'm going to list a bunch and then I'm going to show you photo examples and the research behind it and all of that good statistics. Japanese influence. Organic modern. How many of you on the chat are seeing a lot of that? Dark and moody, we've talked about. Yeah. Cozy English countryside. Oh boy. Thank you, Deval, for that. Curves with kind of moving into waves. We've been curving for a while. Waves and scallops. Fluted fixtures, a lot of detail. Statement stoneware. More heavily textured walls and ceilings. I talked about that last time, but it's getting even more. And I'm going to go beyond boucle on some of this furniture stuff. Japanese influence. And this is interesting because it's very different. House report. This is the House Summer Emerging Trends where they're taking all of the searches that they get and they notice an uptick in all these different types of searches and a huge uptick in Japandi, wabi sabi, Japanese kitchen, Japanese bedroom, which is interesting because this time last year, when I gave the last year's trends, it was a huge uptick in Spanish colonial. Interesting. And we have to look at this, right? Because obviously, if people are searching for it might be a good complement, obviously, to the organic modern style. So those two kind of complement each other. It's very clean lines, clean look. And no surprise, organic modern. How many of you are embracing this in your designs? Yes, no, yeah, you're saying it. I love it. I love, this is a great person to follow as well. Here's a before, and here's a good example, kind of the organic modern, how she creates kind of this beautiful curated look. Doesn't even look like a recognizable room. The dark and moody, obviously, that has been trending. But again, these are upticks in searches. So when we know it's been trending, but then it upticks even more, we have to pay attention. I talked about the color drenching for those of you, and I always have to, be clear because I know my designers, I know what that is. Keep moving on. It's when it's used throughout the room, walls, doors, trims, and even furniture. Here's some good examples of color drenching in the space. Look at that one. Maybe a little too much, but I have to show you the examples. Reading rooms, and I thought this was interesting because I think this is a little bit, they kind of, dark academia, I mentioned in the past as well, as a design style that is trending a bit. Snug. How many of you know what snug is? Do you guys know what snug is? Yes, no, snug design style. No. Yeah. So I love it when I can introduce something new to some of you. Yay! All right. So the searches for snug are up 157%, and they kind of translated it into reading rooms. But the truth is, the term snug actually is a British term. It comes from the UK. I'm getting back to my cozy English countryside style that we have seen trending, and it kind of speaks to kind of that description. And this is just, Chat GPT. I could have got more, but it's really that warm and comfortable, curled up to be well ordered, compact, sheltered, secure. It is kind of that snug and cozy style, how it manifests itself in a design, and you're seeing it. And this is kind of a nod again to the historical styles that have been going on, to the English country that we have been seeing. And you see how, I mean, these are rooms that you just want to snuggle in. It's a little bit more English driven, where Highgate is, I think, more Scandinavian. So we're moving all over Europe with our design styles. And that brings me to the English country style, which I think a lot of this trend. How many of you have heard of Duval kitchens? Yes, no, I'm just curious. Um, A lot of the main designers are always referencing, I'm talking about them, but they are kitchen installers, yeah. And this is just some of their kitchens, but they are kind of leading the way in this whole English country. And it's not even in just kitchens, but these are really kind of timeless designed kitchens. Look at that one, how beautiful. And they do all custom. They do all custom faucets and and pulls and even some of the cabinetry. It's really special stuff, which is kind of exciting. So it's a very curated kitchen look. And we're seeing a lot on Instagram, people embracing this. This is the before. And I apologize because Becky Owens actually featured this, but it was a different designer. So you can go to hers and get the link to the other designer. And this is the after. Look what she did to her kitchen. Is this a style you think you would change to or, like, embrace a bit more? Yes, no, I'm just curious. Funny that the dark wood floors, yeah, are coming back. Isn't it fun how everything cycles? You don't have to always rip it out. All right, curves are getting more wavy and scalloped. Here's a before photo to the after, and we're seeing, to me, I just saw this in the Las Vegas market, and I did a blog post on it where I featured some just fun furniture. We are getting more playful, we're getting more adventurous in our design choices. And you know what this means? Is when the average masses start doing that, they make mistakes. That means they're really going to need us as designers and stagers. Here's more scallop and wave. And here is just a lot more detail. Look at the, I don't know if you could see the wave or the kind of shape of that countertop. Thought it was different. How many of you guys are seeing just a lot of fluting? Fluting, I listed this last year, but I've seen so much more of it in the new builds. Um, and here I love, this is my girl Kelly, what HSR grad Kelly Sharp. This is some of the fluting that she's done in her recent design style. She's in love with it. And you can see it's just really subtle, but it just adds a lovely kind of um, texture to the walls and whatnot. So much fluting in the furniture, fluting and yeah, and here's her examples. I think they're beautiful. She's a fantastic designer. Love to feature her work. Here I saw it in multi-million, and I should preface, when I share these new build photos, these were in multi-million dollar new builds. So if you want to have a little fun and you want to see what's really trending, you search a big city and you go new construction, million plus, 2 million plus, and you're going to see some interesting trends because these builders know a little bit about what they're doing. And look at the fluting in this fireplace. That's kind of a new one for me, but I had to feature it for you. Obviously, the arches trending. Fluting in this hood, also covered hoods trending. Fluting in this bathroom of this new build. This is all this kind of similar new build stuff where I pulled it out. Um, and even fluting here, all new build stuff. You guys are good. Oh, and here's some more. Look at under the island. And this was interesting new build because this is a uh, pretty interestingly kind of timeless design. Statement stoneware. How many of you, especially my stagers, I know you love your ceramics. How many of you have been obviously going a little bit bigger and better and even more artistic with some of your ceramics and statement? Me, Danielle says she's on it. I love it. You guys are so good. Well, my girl Leah Ward, she is one of my HSR grads that I absolutely love to feature. And I really love to feature that some of her work, her most recently because she has been doing a whole series with the Design Network. So Leah Ward, LTW Designs, great one to follow. She did a whole series on YouTube with Design Network, and here she is, I screenshotted, where she's just doing really sculptural statement ceramics, and they're really beautiful. Here's another one I love to follow, more ceramics with the big branches, so beautiful. Heavily textured walls. Obviously, that kind of goes again with the historical that we're seeing, more paneling, more texture, but I'm seeing it even in the rock. So I know some of you are like, uh-oh, Audra, are we getting more Tuscan stuff? I don't know. I'm just seeing a little bit more of this stuff. Like I said, so one other person you probably follow, I love Marie Killam, love her work, and she just did a blog post a few days ago where she's trying to call this trend kind of the new Tuscan trend. But I would say I don't think they're pulling from Tuscany from this. I think it's just more European, it's more English, more French. We're seeing just more historical European trend, not in specifically England. And Holly Cohen says what she's really embracing is small space wallpaper. Are you guys loving that? Here's some of her work where she's really done it in these bathrooms and just playful. I mean, that's just really what she's doing. A lot of playfulness, playful wallpaper. People are getting bold. Now, this is a photo of what not to do with the geometric walls, because I do have a little bit of a pet peeve. I'm always going to give you some of my pet peeves because geometric walls have been trending and they fit in a certain style of a home. But I would say sometimes they're getting a little overused, and there's a time and a place. And if you are going to use geometric walls, here's the secret. They have to relate. They have to be layered. They can't just sit on their own over here, in my opinion. In this case too, like it looks weird just having them over to the side on their own. It looks best when they're layered um, as a backdrop to a layering, to a set, to something. Same here, where it's just kind of more of a layered thing. Yeah, just if you're going to go that way, that's the way to do it. Beyond Boucle, these are just some photos from the Las Vegas market. There's my beautiful sister who is an awesome designer in Santa Cruz. I'm in San Diego, but we started our business 20 years ago together, and she's still going strong. And look at the textures. Are you still, yeah, cozy. We are just wanting cozy. Look at this one. Here she is at four hands, yes, with cocktail in hand, because that's part of the fun part of going to the markets and doing that, as you all know. But here's a little sheepy. So cute. Are you going to be embracing this? Yeah, loving it. Okay. Cozy. My girl Gina Gayling said, one of the trends that she's really loving is kind of these interesting side chairs. Look at these beauties. Fun, sculptural, again, playful, a little bold. Yeah, it's bold. And my Boston Rob, what he's really loving again is that Art Nouveau. Again, fun, playful, little glam, a lot of velvet. This is some of his work. Beautiful work. Ultimately, there's just to really focus on the details. What do you think? Are you going to be embracing more kind of playful sculptural kind of furnishings, materials, maybe mixing some patterns? You're going to add some patterns because we haven't seen a lot of pattern as much, obviously during the white and black trend as much. Curated spaces, I think we all are kind of gravitating towards that. Here's another photo from the Las Vegas market. Check out this table. I just thought it was fun. I mean, who's just going to keep a plain leg at a table when you can do this? I actually really love this side table, and I've seen some designers really embrace that. It's kind of fun. Okay. Basically, there's just this renewed focus for everyone on decorating, renovations, decorating, searches. This was a Yelp statistic up 2,400%. When a search is up like that, we pay attention. People are shopping. They're shopping online. Okay, hot and trending design styles. I mentioned last year brutalism, and I'm going to preface some of this for you guys. Maximalism, organic, modern, we've talked about, Japandi, English country. Fast fading, modern Victorian, modern country, transitional. I don't see transitional fast fading. Frankly, I think it's just a style that's just kind of always trending a bit. It just kind of ebbs and flows. Mid-century modern and modern farmhouse minimalism is still kind of the most popular. I love this photo. It actually by Zoe Feldman because it has a lot of those trends that we already talked about. Uh, but here's the facts and the numbers. This is search trends. So while they'll say that brutalism search volume's up 91%, there's only 3,700 people uh, monthly searching for it compared to maximalist 18,000 and minimalist, if you're a minimalist, 20,000. So when you see search volume, you're seeing the amount of people that are really looking towards that trend. It's interesting. Can you all hear me okay? Put yes in the chat if you can. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Kitchen trends to love. And of course, I'm pulling another Deval. The return of open concept. Now, that's to me, that probably never should have trended out. That's probably just a good functional design for any entertainer. But it trended out during the COVID just because we were sick of looking at each other in the space. I'm kidding. Larger islands. We're just going bigger if we can, more space. Everybody loves an island. Here's a good example before, and my sister's work after. Blowing out the wall, making space for that large island makes sense. Love open concept. Modern traditional. That's what we're seeing a lot of, where people are kind of mixing. Oh my gosh, you're going to see all the old framed, paintings in the kitchen. Oh, nobody did that like 10 years ago, but we're going to see that. We're seeing almost too much of it. Dark wood tones, pantries and second kitchens. Are you seeing that? Back kitchens, hidden features, beverage centers, coffee centers. That's been trending for a bit, and it's just very functional and practical. I love this kitchen design by Kimberly Parker design because looky here. Look at that cabinet over there. Open it up. What do you see? And what I also love about it, how functional it is, because it's not in the main area of the kitchen, her cook space. So her guests can help themselves and not be in her way. Love that. Uh, Aesthetics over function. Investment in kitchens reaches an all-time high. This is all great news for us as designers. This is according to the House Kitchen Trends study, pretty recent. Again, this is back to open concept has been growing. More and more people want the open concept, accumulating in 2024 that 43%. So we're up, 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 and also more open to the outdoors. That's just been going up, 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 up. Everybody wants that. The interesting thing is what triggers that kitchen renovation. I showed you guys this stat, which kind of cracks me up, is I am sick of my kitchen. I want to renovate it. The style. And that speaks volumes for us because what we try and do is create a more timeless style. But a lot of times people want to follow those trends. I'm going to show you some build stuff that mistakes we're not going to want. Your clients are never going to do that. And then people have the means, they have the equity. And certainly they better have the means because people are spending more on their renovations than ever before. And when I say more, this is not a small amount more. Year over year, they spent 20% more. I can't wait to see what the difference will be for 2024 because I imagine it'll be even more. And look at the difference. It's like 25 to 30% more for a larger kitchen remodel. Are you guys seeing this, my designers and stagers? People want to get it the right way, right away. They are willing to invest. They have equity in their home. We all know this. They want to do it right. They don't want to make any expensive mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, I told you I was going to tell you those 6 new build trends that to me are a bit of a bust. And I know you're going to say that's on the decline. That's on the obsolescence in our life cycle. But let me tell you, I'm pulling up multi-million-dollar new build photos for you and still seeing this stuff. And if you disagree, I'll be curious. But gray vinyl flooring, I think you're all going to agree on that one. We saw it everywhere. We're still seeing it in some of the new build stuff. Oh, those people are going to be so disappointed. So disappointed. Geometric accent walls, like I said, I think that I already mentioned the right and the wrong way, but I'm seeing it in new builds, and again, just a way that doesn't make sense. And in this new build, again, it just kind of on its own. It's fine. I like a little texture of it. Excessive black hardware. And here's what I want to say. There's a time and a place. Gray is not trending out. Gray is a great color. It'll always be part of our design plan to some degree sometimes, but we overuse things. So when things get overused, people get really sick of them. So this is the things that I'm thinking are a little bit overused, and we're seeing a lot of excessive black hardware. What do you think? Are you seeing a lot of excessive black hardware? And my problem with black hardware is they just, and we all did it. I did it myself too. I'm just guilty. They just sometimes look like little black holes, especially when they don't relate to anything in the space. It's just not a very timeless choice. That's all I'm saying. Those black and white exteriors. Remember when, like, 10 even years ago or 15 years ago, you'd see an all black house and you thought, oh, they must love Halloween. Well, we're seeing all black and white houses now everywhere. And that's, to me, part of the problem. Now, there's a time and a place. Like, this to me is a beautiful color house in the right setting, foresty setting. Looks great. It's in place. But what we're seeing in the new build realm and the builder room is just constant churn and burn, black and white, neighborhoods of black and white. And I would just make the argument, it just doesn't, it's just getting old. And also at the end of a life cycle. So they'll be painting it. So these are things that I think are getting to be excessive and means it's kind of towards the end of the life cycle that we probably should be wary of specifying for our clients. Oh, let me go back. Solid marble. I mentioned counter splashes. Now, counter splashes done right with really expensive countertops like this beautiful kitchen look great, right? Um, but in the new builds that I'm seeing, do you think this looks the same? They just don't. They're not using as expensive sometimes countertop materials, and then it just doesn't come off well. And we're going to go back to this kitchen. I just, no. So just again, be wary if they want to do that. They need to buck up and spend some good stone. And linear fireplaces. Oh my gosh, I saw so many of these in the multi-million dollar homes. And maybe a time and place in a really modern home, but let's be honest, the fireplace, it's this focal point of a room. It is the place that we want the eye to go. Do you think this is an attractive place? Is this where we want to draw the eye? Is it attractive? Or this one, or this one. These are multi-million dollar new builds. Like as in not California. I mean, how hard, this is not going to be easy to tear out. So again, these builders who, and they do a lot of research, but I just would make the argument that they could have just gone with a more timeless style. This is going to be a trend that is a painful trend for the client to have to, or for the homeowner to have to get rid of. Okay. And I have to say, I have to thank, I don't know if you follow, I found this Renard Lowell on YouTube, and I got a lot of, so like I said, nothing's new under the sun. A lot of these tips and ideas were things that came from him. I thought he was brilliant, and I'm totally following him. But here's some trends. He's a great designer. He's IT guy turned designer, and I really loved his work. I loved he had really good points. And here's some other points, because we're embracing all of these trends. Here's some trends that have been going on that we've been embracing that I'm going to make the argument may not be very functional for all of your clients. So you just, when you're working with people or even yourself, so if you're the enthusiast, I want you to think hard about, whether this is going to work for you. Open shelving in kitchen. We all love it. It makes it look so open, but the average person won't curate that shelving very well and won't dust it all the time. So, it depends on the right person, depends on the right kitchen. Marble countertops, I love marble countertops. I'm going to tell you that, but I'm also a red wine drinker, and there may not be for somebody in a heavily trafficked kitchen that entertains a lot, might stress them out. You've got to seal them every 6 months. There could be maybe other choices that you talk to your clients about. Just, these are just warnings again. Vessel sinks. How many of you guys see these vessel sinks in bathrooms all the time? And we see that. Time and a place, but also not super functional or practical, really hard to clean around. All white interiors, same thing, not practical, will look dingy. I love all white interiors. In a coastal home, oh my gosh, photograph it right away, because in 2 years, if you're not a clean freak or if you have animals or like I do and kids or whatnot, It doesn't work as well. And here's one, freestanding tubs, which I love a good freestanding tub. But here's the thing, again, to be aware of when you're specifying for a client or putting it in your own home. Um, don't put it too close to the wall. If it's shoved up against the wall, do you think it's going to be easy for you to clean behind that tub? Do you think mold grows in wet places like this? Yes. And do you think you can clean that very easily? No. And these are just considerations. Like this one too, very tight, looks beautiful, but considerations. Here's the right way to do it. Just back it up a little bit. Give them a little space so they can clean around it. And these are just things as kitchen bath trends as we work with our clients. I thought you'd appreciate some of that. All right, let's talk business trends. Who's got the crystal ball? What do we think next year's going to look like? And I've mentioned this if you've taken my workshops before, but I think this is important for you to know. Our homes are old. The average home in the US is 41 years old on average. That's just old. Once your home hits 20 years old, your renovation spending spikes 15%. So they really need designers and stagers. And the truth is, builders just stopped building in 2008. And that is what led to this renovation boom that we've in. How many of you on the chat have renovated something within your home in the last 5 years? Or another home? Or a second home or an Airbnb home. Yes. So this has been this boom that's just been driving this, incredible growth in our design and build industry, which has been very exciting. And this is kind of the stats to back it up. And it's funny because they kind of thought maybe this year things would slow down. Nope. Through 2028, this is the forecast for residential like remodeling and renovation. This is all good news for us as designers and stagers. This is one reason I've been telling my stagers who strictly staged, I'd been telling them for the last 5 years, time to dip your toe in design. I know you love your staging, but you can do both. They're the two sides of the same coin. To hedge your business, take advantage of it. People need your help, especially in those kitchen renovations, because I'm showing you even the builders need your help. So it's all exciting. Those higher interest rates that we have been experiencing for the last kind of 2 to 3 years, they've also helped to fuel the renovation boom because 9 out of 10 of us have, how many of you have an interest rate under 6%? Say me or anyone? Yeah. So this incentive for us to stay put, repair, renovate, um, people are calling it, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called the golden handcuffs, meaning I can't afford to move out of my house because I've got a great rate at my house and I don't want to pick up a rate that's expensive. And so from a staging standpoint or a housing inventory standpoint, we've seen a lower inventory. Now the good news is those interest rates have been creeping down. And the better news is my crystal ball says that next year we're going to see kind of a housing boom because all those people, when the interest rates hit 5%. So they anticipate those interest rates next year are going to 5%. And when that happens, guess what happens to those golden handcuffs? Boom, they're off. I think staging is going to be booming kind of next year, even as much, if not more, than design, which makes me excited because I think there's going to be, as this article says, a flood of activity and homes because there's a lot of people who've been waiting to sell, waiting to downsize. So it's exciting that there's this continued rise in online shopping. So what happens when we online shop? We make mistakes, right? We don't get to see, touch, and feel it. That leads consumers looking for very specific direction and design help, leads more designers to doing e-design, visual boards, got to give them the visual before they purchase. Here's that online shopping graph, which I absolutely love. We literally buy everything online now. I mean, it's kind of sad, but here's 2010, way down here, and boom, it's gone up like 500%. It's going to lead to mistakes. And no surprise, this is why when designers and decorators and stagers were interviewed this year's House Industry State of the Industry, they were the most optimistic, the most excited about their businesses. So it's a great, great time. And that excites me because I love giving these workshops because I'm giving them to all you stagers and designers. And we're just like, party. This is great. This is a great opportunity, great time to be in it. There's lots of avenues to go into from kitchen design to bath design. I just pulled this off of the Q4 2024 quarter four. And do you see this number? It is crazy to me. This is the business activity. So for those of you, I mean, I don't know about you, but I usually expect the holidays to slow down. I tell all my designers and stagers, take a deep breath, enjoy your holidays because watch out, spring starts kicking in February for stagers. But according to this graph, there's the business activity expected is to skyrocket up this holiday season, which is crazy to me, but these are the stats from House. Backlog indicator, yes, there's a dip backlog. How many of you are feeling pretty busy? Yes, if you're a designer stager. I mean, this is typically not a time you'd be busy, so I'd be surprised. But yeah, here is the backlog indicator. Yes, I love it. So that kind of leads me back to all y'all, because we are going to be rounding the corner into 2025. And at the end of the day, change is a factor, right? We ride those waves of change. And I'm always tell you the thing that I kind of breathe live and die by about my business, is why I've been in business 20 years, is I always focus on up level. You always got to up level your business by investing in your knowledge and adapting, embracing new technology, embracing what's trending. Clearly, you guys, like I said, are the tip of the spear. You're here. So that's the amazing, wonderful thing. For those of you who have been, how many of you, maybe there's not very many of you, have been hoping or wanting to get into design or staging or color at some point? You've just wish that's your dream career, but you've never taken the dive. Just put me. Yeah, Danielle, me. Yeah. Um, maybe consider doing a business that you love. This is the beauty of a new year. A new year gives you a new chance to kind of reinvent. Um, you don't need a 4-year degree in interior design to do this. Uh, it, it, you've been training yourself on this for years because of your passion, and certainly there's more you can learn. Um, I want to encourage you, whether you choose me as your guide and business partner, if you decide to ever take this plunge, I would love to be your guide and business partner. But even if I'm not your person, I want to encourage you next year to go for it. Uh, and that's why I said, this is why I'm having this end of the year sale, because I always have people, I find that this is kind of a time of the year, this time of year and the beginning of the year where people are like, what do I want to do? I've got the holidays. I want to up level. So awesome 2025 is a coupon on all my products. Those of you I know, I've had like even some of my members have like, I've been waiting for a coupon so I could buy one of your, this is it. This is the last coupon. This is my Black Friday thing, expires Friday. So how is your 2025 going to look? Maybe dip your toe in design, do concept boards, do color. It's an easy way to do it. I always say I've had a lot of people who they join those 2 trainings and then they do it while they're working full time because they can do color consultations or a couple hours, design. And then it's just like a fun thing as they're slowly building their business. There's a huge need. There's so much opportunity. And I do a 72-hour no questions asked because I think it's important that you love what you purchase. And so you get in there. Once you see it, if you don't love it, just let us know. I'm not going to make you fill out a bunch of homework or go through all these rigmaroles like I know a lot of online training does. You just send an email, refund. You have nothing to lose. And what I always say is in this webinar, you got a taste of the way I train. That's why I do these. Did you learn a little something in the last hour we were together? If you did in the chat, put yes. Did you learn a little something? I love Kathy said I did. I always say, imagine 3 weeks with me. That's my staging training. That's 3 weeks. Imagine it. Oh boy. Um, so, because the thing that I get, and this is why I always have to kind of end with this, certainly don't mean to be salesy, but really, this is what I hear all the time from the people who join my training is they're excited, nervous, and then they end with confident, excited. Is their only regret is they wish they started earlier. Everybody says that. Um, so I hope you decide, take a chance. I'll send you a follow-up email with the replay of this, the details on the courses so that you can kind of take a look and see if this is your time. But Oh, thank you, Boston Rob. Oh, you guys are so great. Thank you. A bunch of people in there in the chat room are saying how much they love my training. I love it, my people. So I hope you love this. I love doing this one. It's so much fun. You cannot believe the amount of work that goes into this and all the research. I've got like pages and pages. My team does so much. I'm so grateful to have you. Cheers to you. Cheers to your dreams, your business, your passions. I hope to see you on my next workshop, which will probably be in January, where we talk about goals and planning. But thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. Good night.